Thank you for joining Wars of the Roses. And this is Mason, Derivation of the Word, from the Encyclopedia of Freemasonry by Albert G. Mackey. Mason, Derivation of the Word. The search for the etymology or derivation of the word Mason has given rise to numerous theories, some of them ingenious, but many of them very absurd. Thus, a writer in the European magazine for February 1792, who signs his name as George Drake, Lieutenant of Marines, attempts to trace the Masons to the Druids, and derives Mason from maize on, maize being in reference to May Day, the great festival of the Druids, and on meaning men, as in the French on date for omdit. According to this, maison therefore means the men of May. This idea is not original with Drake, since the same derivation was urged in 1766 by Cleland in his essays on The Way to Things in Words and on The Real Secret of Freemasons. Hutchinson, in his search for a derivation, seems to have been perplexed with the variety of roots that presented themselves, and being inclined to believe that the name of Mason has its derivation from a language in which it implies some strong indication or distinction of the nature of the society, and that it has no relation to architects, looks for the root in the Greek tongue. Thus he thinks that Mason may come from Mao Soon, I seek salvation, or from Mistis, an initiate, and that Masonry is only a corruption of Mesorenio, I am in the midst of heaven, or from Mazuruth, a constellation mentioned by Job, or from Mysterion, a mystery. Lessing says in his Ernst und Falls that Mercer in the Anglo-Saxon signifies a table, and that Masonry, consequently, is a society of the table. Nicolai thinks he finds the root in the Low Latin word of the Middle Ages Masonia or Masonia, which signifies an exclusive society or club such as that of the Round Table. Coming down to later times, we find Brother C.W. Moore in his Boston Magazine of May 1844, deriving meson from lithotornos, a stonecutter. But, although fully aware of the elasticity of etymological rules, it surpasses our ingenuity to get Mason etymologically out of lithotomos. Brother Giles F. Yates sought for the derivation of Mason in the Greek word Mazones, a festival of Dionysus, and he thought that this was another proof of the lineal descent of the Masonic order from the Dionysiac artificers. Brother William S. Rockwell, who was accustomed to find all his Freemasonry in the Egyptian mysteries, and who was a thorough student of the Egyptian hieroglyphic system, derives the word Mason from a combination of two phonetic signs, the one being mai, and signifying to love, and the other being son, which means a brother. Hence, he says, this combination Mason expresses exactly in sound our word Masons, and signifies literally loving brother, that is Philadelphus, brother of an association, and thus corresponds also in sense. But all of these fanciful etymologies, which would have terrified Bopp, Grimm, or Mueller, or any other student of linguistic relations, forcibly remind us of the French epigrammatist who admitted that Alphna came from Equus, but that in so coming, it had very considerably changed its root. What then is the true derivation of the word Mason? Let us see what the orthopists, who had no Masonic theories, have said upon the subject. Webster, seeing that in Spanish masa means mortar, is inclined to derive Mason as denoting one that works in mortar from the root of mass, which of course gave birth to the Spanish word. In Low or medieval Latin, Mason was Macchio or Macchio, and this Ducange derives from the Latin masseria, a long wall. Others find a derivation in machinoi because the builders stood upon machines to raise their walls. But Richardson takes a common sense view of the subject. He says, it appears to be obviously the same word as maison, a house or mansion, applied to the person who builds instead of the thing built. The French maisonner is to build houses, maisonner, to build of stone. The word mason is applied by usage to a builder in stone and masonry to work in stone. Carpenter gives massum, used in 1225 for a building of stone, and masonus, used in 1304 for a mason, and the Benedictine editors of Ducange define masoneria, a building, the French maconnery, and masonerius, as latomus or a mason, both words in manuscripts of 1385. Dr. Murray, in the New English Dictionary, says of the word mason, the ulterior etymology is obscure, possibly the word is from the root of Latin maceria, a wall. As a practical question, we are compelled to reject all those fanciful derivations which connect the Freemasons etymologically and historically with the Greeks, the Egyptians, or the Druids, and to take the word Mason in its ordinary signification of a worker in stone, and thus indicate the origin of the order from a society or association of practical and operative builders. We need no better root than the Old French and Latin maconer, to build, or maconetus, a builder. See Freemason and Macon. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Roses. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.